Happy morning, dear friends. Here's yours, Dr. Ajanta. Welcome to Demystify with Ajay. Dear friends, we have examined how to plot some of the basic plots with Python Seaborn library. And today we are going to discuss some of the advanced Seaborn plots in action. Okay, first of all, we are just going to make it on scatter plot. And of course, we saw how to plot a scatter plot with matplotlib, of course, in the previous sessions. And now we will see how to plot a scatter plot with Python Seaborn library. And yeah, dear friends, here I have just imported the Seaborn and of course matplotlib. And here I have just provided the SNS as the alias name for Seaborn. And dear friends, here we are going to make exploring on tips dataset. Okay, so let me just import the tips dataset from the Seaborn library. And of course, you all know here by using the head function, we can just observe the first 5 records, topmost 5 records. And yeah, dear friends, what we are. So let's now plot a scatter plot with the values from the total bill, okay, of the tips dataset on the x-axis and the values from the tips column on the y-axis. Okay, to plot a scatter plot, you need to call the scatter plot method of the Seaborn library. Okay, I just execute this and kindly observe here what you're able to see here. Yeah, of course, here you can just see some of the data points that we have just explored from the total bills, that is the tips data set. And dear friends, to change the color of the scatter plot, yeah, you can simply pass the first letter of any of the color to the color attribute of the scatter plot. And of course we are passing a red, R color. Okay, so R is the red color. And let me just explore how it just changes. Okay, so see, this is what the same data type, data points. Okay, so here we have just done in a red color. And of course, yeah, you can change the marker shape also. Okay, for the scatter plot, you need to pass a value for the marker attribute. And here we have done with the marker attribute, and here we have just provided X. Okay, and yeah, let me just plot the scatter plot. And here we have just given the color B, that is the blue color. And let me just see how the data points are. Okay, so here we have done with the scatter plot. Of course, we have already discussed more on matplotlib related to the scatter plot. So just to have a view from the Seaborn, yeah, it's here. And next, going on to the styling Seaborn plots. Dear friends, while matplotlib plots might be the aesthetically pleasing, you can create aesthetically pleasant plots with Seaborn also. So for instance, you can set the background style of the plot with set style. Okay, here you can just have that of set style function. You can pass one of the dark grid is there, white grid is there. Of course, you can just use white and text as a value to the set style function. And let me just explore with that. So first of all, here I have just provided the dark grid. Okay, kindly just have a look of it, how the dark grid is there. So kindly have a look of the background. And of course, it is all about the same scatter plot. Okay, the same scatter plot with the color B and to the marker X. One and only thing, we have included the data dark grid behind the set style. And yeah, if you pass white grid as a value to the set style, and yeah, you will see the grid white background. Okay, the grid with white background. Okay, so here it is the exact example. And of course, in addition to the styling the background, you can style the plot for different devices via the set context. So kindly just observe, this is a set context, and you can just pass it however. So see, actually by default the context is set to notebook. However, if you want to plot your plot on a poster, yeah, you can pass the value poster as a parameter to the set context. And yeah, let me just explore here and let me have a look off to that first of all. So see here, this is how the poster content would be there. And even though the default notebook also here it is, so kindly have a look off to that how this happens. Okay, so of course I'm just making it let I just have the exact 1 second, dear friends. So here let me just plot it how this is what the notebook parameter is there. Okay, so which we just passed to the set context. So it is all about the adding styles to the content. Okay, yeah, next we are just going to see on to the heat maps. Dear friend, actually heat map is a type of matrix plot and is used to plot the correlation between the numerical column in a data set. So in the form of a matrix. So to plot a heat map, both columns and rows should have meaningful information. So to plot a heat map, we will use the Titanic data set. Okay, so let me just first import the Titanic data set here. Okay, so and let me have the exact head. So passing on to the head, so we can just view the top 5 records. And here the exact output shows that we have the meaningful informations along the columns only. So to plot a heat map, okay, we need meaningful information on row as well as. So one of the way to get meaningful information among row is to call the correlation function on a pandas data frame. So let's see what the correlation function does to the pandas data frame. So let me just have this correlation. So kindly just observe here, dear friends. So this is how we can just get it done with it. And yeah, the output here, it just shows, you can see that we now have a meaningful information across row as well as. So here we first increase the default plot size. And yeah, here we have 10,8 is there. Let me just actually previously it was low. So let me just increase the data size here. Okay, and then pass the correlation map here. Okay, and dear friends, actually here the Titanic data set to the heat map we have just passing it, and let we just get it explore. So kindly just observe. And yeah, dear friends, here we have just specified the annet is equal to true, where we can just get the values. Okay, that annotation we just get the values, and see you can have a good plotting. Okay, which is cropped from the top and to the top bottom, the exact diagonal things is that. So yeah, I just slowly scroll up and down of this exact image of this correlation map. Okay, yeah, actually we have also included one thing. See, actually we use here the set lm ylm. Okay, this method is to increase the plot size from the top and bottom cell by 0.5 percentage. Okay, so that is also included here, and let me just explore how this happens. So see here, so above and below we are just able to get 0.5 percentage increases. So you can also change the default color map also. Okay, so this exact is the default color, and you can also change the default by passing the values to the CMap. And here kindly just observe. So here see, this is the exact heat map function, and you are passing the CMap color here, okay, as cool warm. Okay, and yeah, in let me just first explore and I just let you know. So this is how the cool warm would be. So in addition to changing the color of the heat map, yeah, you can also specify the line color and width that separate the cells in a map. That is also possible. But here, to be added to this heat map, kindly dear friends, actually a heat map is a two-dimensional data visualization technique that represents the magnitude of individual value within a data set as a color. Okay, and of course, dear friends, actually these heat maps are used to show relationship between two variables that are plotted on each axis. So by observing how cell color changes across each axis, you can observe if there are any pattern in the value for one or both variables, and the variable plotted on each axis can be of any type, whether that takes a categorical label or numerical values. Okay, yeah, fine, dear friends. Of course, each and every correlation, of course, we can just discuss in detail how the exact value changes and the numerical value changes and the categorical label changes. Of course, we will just discuss when we just apply it in on a project. Okay, now let's make use of the cluster map. And here, yeah, we are going to import the flights data set from the Seaborn. And yeah, the flights data set contains records of the passenger traveling each month from 1949 to 1960. Let I just have this. And yeah, of course, the head function just shows the top 5 records. And here it is all about the cluster map, dear friends. Actually, cluster map is also a type of matrix plot only, but here the cluster map clusters data on the base of hierarchical clustering. So to plot a cluster map, yeah, you need to call the cluster map function. Okay, so here the exact script plots a cluster map that clusters the number of passenger with respect to years and month. So that is what here we are just having it in index and to the top column. Okay, so let I just execute this. Kindly observe here. So we are having the exact color grid here. So to that of value, the exact data has been plotted here according to this. So yeah, there is a exact changes, various changes in the 1959 to 1960. Okay, yeah, when we just discuss on to the thing. Okay, so here the exact output which is just clearly shows that the passenger traveling from 1949 to 1950, actually it is 54, I think so, have been clustered together, while those traveling from 1955 to 60, or maybe we can just take it in that manner. Okay, so 1960 has been clustered together in an outer hierarchical cluster. Okay, so this is due to the fact that the number of passenger increased rapidly. Okay, so here the first half of the year is clustered together, and while the second half is clustered the other. So kindly just have a view here. And yeah, with respect to the month, observe, yeah, when we just make use of that June to September. Okay, so the June to September, yeah, has been clustered together. Okay, here we have June to September is clustered together, and of course this actually behavior can be justified by the fact that is most countries the summer holidays periods lies between this June and September. So like heat map, you can also specify line color and with the separating cell in a cluster map. Okay, so even though let me just make a small changes here. So line color is black and line with this the one. So with the changes, let me just see how it is able to. So observe here, dear friends. So this is how the line color has been given, and of course you can just see the changes. Yeah, actually the line with this one, so it just seems to be like a bold in colors. Okay, now next let me just move on to the pair grids. Dear friends, actually in this previous session we discussed how the pair plot can be used to plot relation between numerical columns of a data set. So before we see pair grids in action, let revise how the pair plot works. So here of course we are again with the tips data, and kindly just have a note. I just want to make this tips data to be there in pair plot. Okay, so here it is in pair plot. So observe this, how it just shows. So here we are having the histos and scatter, of course, scattered in towards the hue concepts. Okay, now let me just plot a pair grid for the same tips data, and yeah, to do so you have to pass the pandas data frame containing the tips data, okay, to that function. Which function? That is the pair grid function. So now kindly just see how the exact grid it just shows. So this is how the grid shows. Okay, of course you should see the empty grids only here. Okay, but we are just going to make use of the exact plotting. So observe here. So to actually plot a graph on the grid returned by the pair grid function, okay, so you need to call the map function. So you have to make a map function here on the object returned by the pair grid function. So inside the map function, the type of the plot is passed as a parameter. So whichever we have just done towards the above. So I just scroll above, kindly just observe. So this exact pair grid, okay, now when I'm just passing on to this map, okay, you are able to see that is the plots as scatter plot for all the pair of numerical columns in the tips data set. So kindly just view here. Yeah, so this is how the pair grids. And of course, dear friends, with a pair grid, you can plot different types of plots on the diagonal. That is upper portion from the diagonal and the lower portion from the diagonal. And here, for instance, actually, you can also plot a kernel density estimation plot on diagonal distribution on the upper part of the diagonal and scatter plot on the lower side. Okay, so here kindly just observe, we are going to have the kernel density estimation also is there, and here you can just make use of distribution plot is there, and of course scatter plot is there where you want. Here I just specified the diagonal, upper and lower. So let me just explore this, and here we just go with the exact pattern. Yeah, so this is how you can just have it. So see, in the diagonal we have the distribution and scatter plot is there, and of course we have the kernel density also, it's there. So these are all the exact different past grid function. And next we are having the phased grids in Seaborn, which are used to plot two categorical column against two numerical columns. So here for instance, if you want to plot the distribution plot for the total bill column, okay, of a tips data set with respect to the exact thing. So see here we are just having that exact tips data set as your data, and here in the column we are just having the sex, and here in the row we are having the time, and you can plot the phased grid by making it in towards the map function. Okay, and kindly just to see here. So yeah, this is how the exact. So you can see gender across column and time across row as respectively. Okay, so specified by the phased grid functions, columns and rows attributes have been specified. Yeah, I think it's good to see. And yeah, similarly you can just use that phase grid to plot scatter plot for the total bills and tips also. Okay, so total bills and to the tips, and let me just have it. So this is how it happens. Okay, so here we have the scatter plots. Okay, now next it's all about the regression plot, dear friends. Actually, regression plots are used to plot a scatter plot for two column along with the regression lines. So to plot a regression plot with the Seaborn, you need to call implot. Okay, LMP plot is there. Okay, so this exact method, yeah, of course, this exact shows you to plot a regression plot for total bills and the tips as your columns, okay, rows and columns here, and yeah, of course it is the data set with the tips data. Okay, so let I explore here. And kindly just see how this is shown. Yeah, you can plot, of course, you can plot regression plot for two columns on the y-axis also. How come it is? Yeah, you can just need to pass a column name for the hue parameter of this LM plots. So here we are just passing the hue, that is with the time. And kindly just to see the exact difference, which I'm just going to make it in the later on. So see here. So here we are passing two columns in y-axis, and if the exact output shows here is that there is a higher variation in the number of bills paid during the lunchtime here. There is a lunchtime as compared to the number of bills paid during the dinner. And here, additional to have a plot for both the columns on the x-axis, you can create two different plots. That is what here I have just specified. So extracting rather than specifying the hue parameter, here if we specify the column here, kindly just to see this exact image which we have just two columns, that is two regression plots here. Kindly just observe how it's going to be. So here two different plots is there via the column parameter. So this one is for lunch and this one is for dinner. And yeah, dear friends, what's next? Yeah, here we are coming to the end of the Seaborn library. Of course, yeah, you will see how to work with a pandas library in the next session, and of course how to plot different types of plots with Python pandas library, and we will see how to visualize the data from the scratch. And yeah, I hope you found this video helpful in gaining a solid foundation on data visualization. Remember to practice what you have learned and explore further to deepen your understanding. Of course, I share a few exercises done with Matplotlib and Seaborn simultaneously. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe the channel for latest uploads. See you in the next session. Happy learning, dear friends. Thank you.